and welcome to this week's Talking Codswallop. Now, you'll notice that this is going to be a bit different. It is me on my own, but what I'm not doing is, well, I've got no partners in crime for this one. The wife's left me, the mistress has left me, so I've got no Gemma, I've got no Joanne. So what normally happens in these sort of situations when a man has been completely and utterly left on his own, the women in his life have deserted him? Well, what he usually does is get his mates round, get a couple of lads round. So we've actually done the best thing we can do ever for this episode. We've got one of my closest and dearest friends, Lyndon, who, if you go back in time and listen to our other podcast episodes, which of course you will do, so tadpoles, get yourself on, because it'll give yourself a bit of education, unless you can remember. If you look for episode 188 of this, you'll get to hear the origin story of Home Not Alone. But Lyndon is so good that he's done it again. So, Lyndon, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you, James. You've certainly put me on the spot with Home Not Alone 2. There was always going to be a sequel. It was never in any doubt. Home Not Alone 1, I should say, was a very good prank that we did on you. But I always intended to do the sequel and Home Not Alone 3. That could happen as well.
I'd be very surprised if it didn't. So to give the salty tadpoles some sort of idea of what happened, I won't delve too much into Home Not Alone 1. I want you to go back and listen to it. But that's where Lyndon pranked me really, really well by not even telling me he'd moved house. And that's all we're going to say, because I want the listeners to go back and the new listeners to have a listen to that episode. So to give you some indication, you wonderful salty tadpoles, and you would have heard this on one of the other episodes when I mentioned the fact with talking to Gemma that the wonderful celebrations I had on my birthday. Because, I know it's hard to believe looking at me. You've seen me on videos before. It's very hard to believe. I am 40. I know I look younger. Lyndon, believe it or not, is actually older than me, and he looks younger than I do. So whatever we're doing something right. But I did. I hit the big 4-0. It was horrible. It was painful, but I got through it. The thing I had on my birthday is I was stuck on my own. My dad was off having to deal with stuff, and I was on my own at home. So, no, not too much of the old violin playing is needed for me, because Lyndon, being the great friend he was, said to me, we'll do something. And he got in contact with my dad. But at that point, I'm completely in the dark as to what's going to happen. So I'm going to hand over to Lyndon at this point. All I will say is I went in with no real knowledge, apart from the fact that as time went on, I knew something was going to happen. And Lyndon had dropped clues, because he'd said to me, I want to be on the podcast again to discuss times when the sequel is better than the original. And that was an indicator for me that I never quite understood. So, Lyndon, set the scene for us. How did it all start for pulling my wonderful 40th birthday celebrations together?
Well, we wanted to do something special for your 40th birthday. The Home Not Alone 1 was a great success. So we decided Home Not Alone 2, could it be done? Could you be pranked again? Well, of course you could. You're James Stafford. So with that, we came up with the idea, 40th birthday celebration, come round for a meal with your father, and do something in the house to prank you, to surprise you. And probably because your father's with you, you're going to least expect something to be done.
It's very true, because all I had was this idea that we were going to have a meal. That's all I had. And you even threw me on the, we're going ahead slightly, but you even threw me on the meal front, because you kept saying it's going to be an Indian. We're getting all these ingredients, so we're going to have an Indian. And the only inclination I got that it could be something else was when my dad went, I thought we were on a barbecue. But anyway, as ever, I've jumped forward. It's, I've gone ahead. It's been premature in what I'm saying, which is normally not a problem you have when you get old. So.
Yeah, so on that front, not on the premature front, on the front of your birthday. So we decorated, or just finished decorating our bedroom, and we did it a vintage 1930s theme. And I came up with the idea that following on from with Home Not Alone 2, we would prank you in the bedroom, not me personally or anyone else, but we would do something where we would get your friends round and do a surprise for your birthday. So myself and Ben, who helped plan, was one of the architects for Home Not Alone 1, he came up with some good ideas around how we could pull this one off, not you off, this birthday.
See, what you may not, obviously, the fact is you wouldn't want to say pull me off. The more concerning thing is you say you were going to knock me off.
Yeah, well.
You almost killed me with fear and a possible heart attack with the first Home Not Alone.
Yeah. So we came up with the idea. We'd invite friends around. Some of the friends you'd not seen for a number of years. But instead of just, when people do like surprise parties, they hide in a room and they all come out at the same time. But we wanted to do something different. So we agreed that you would come round for a meal with your dad. I was dropping in hints. Oh, we're going to have a curry. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. Just to throw you off that, there was going to be any sort of surprise. So I was trying to keep you distracted from what we were planning. Now, in terms of getting this all coordinated and things, there was a number of people that we had to tell, but they had to sort of swear an oath of secrecy not to say anything to you. They knew that you were going to be 40, but they weren't going to say anything around, in conversations with you, that what was going on. So, we got this idea. We spoke to people, colleagues gone by that you'd worked with, and we got the date booked in, obviously, with you and your dad, and then we pulled the trigger then and we started putting this plan in action. Now, one of the things that we wanted to do, or I wanted to do, I should say, is get people arriving at different times.
Which was something that really got me at the time. So can I just take you back a little bit on this one, Lyndon, for my own pure curiosity? Because to explain to the Salty Tadpoles, I am learning completely fresh on this, of how this all came together. And one of the things I'd said to Lyndon when we spoke of late is he said to me, we were talking about how this will all come together. I said, no, let's keep this completely secret. So literally you are finding out when I find out how Lyndon pulled all this wonderful stuff together. But the question I want to ask you, Lyndon, is how much did my dad know at this point? What had you told him? Well,
I said to your dad that we were having a barbecue. That's what we was planning to do. And I did say to him that I would be looking to get some of your friends round as a surprise. That was pretty much as much as he knew. Yeah. So to sort of, again, throw you off the trail of what was going on, I'd said to Ben and to other people, well, if Ben comes at 6:30 after you've arrived at 6, you would think, well, that's probably the surprise. So obviously when you came round at 6, we went out into the garden and I told you we were doing a barbecue. The weather was perfect for the barbecue. And then at 6:30, Ben, and this was planned, Ben would come down the side of the house with Zara. And surprise you. But then the magic happened after that. So
to interject, the only indication I had of anything at that point that I thought was a bit strange is when we first got there, because I'd obviously, prior to this, I think I'd said to my dad, I think we're having a curry. My dad was like, I thought we were having a barbecue. I said, no, that's not what he told me. I said to my dad, why do you think we're going to have a barbecue? And he said, I just thought we did, whether. I think I mentioned your love of doing barbecues, because the other interesting thing is, prior to this, to give a little taster to you Salty Tadpoles, is the fact that Lyndon had been seeing me. We'd been to an antiques place because Lyndon was looking for some more furniture because he's doing his house up to be in keeping with the period it was built. We went to an antique shop. He bought a really cool antique rocking chair. So I knew that was in the house. That was the kind of only thing we discussed. And at some point when I was talking to Lyndon, he discussed getting a new barbecue. So I was like, oh, that's cool. It's interesting. He's getting a new barbecue. And I think we might have discussed it on the phone as well. But obviously we're all outside, I'd not even, because the other thing Lyndon had done that was great is he put up a 40th birthday thing outside, which I'd initially not twigged, but he gave me the nod. Well, I think he gave my dad the nod, and I saw that. And I'm going to be brutally honest, when Ben and Zara turned up, for a split second, I didn't realise who they were, because I hadn't seen them properly. So all I could hear was a gate going, which I turned to see. And I just saw them out the command. I'm like, who's that? And I looked again, and I'm like, whoa, yeah. So that is the first initial thing. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I've not seen Ben and Zara for 2 years, something like that. It's a long, long time. So that was great. We were all there having fun. And then Lyndon, being brilliant as he is, Lyndon and Jen, they moved the thing on slightly, because when we first got there, the big thing that I was looking forward to seeing amongst having the meal and things was seeing the decoration that Lyndon had done to change his and Jen's bedroom, to take it from what it was to something that's more in keeping with the house. So we're all sat around. And initially, when we'd first got there, I remember this, we talked about seeing the bedroom and having a look at it. And I think you'd sort of said to either me or my dad, well, we'll do that later. He's very good, Salty Tapples. He's very good, because he says things that make a lot of sense, Lyndon. He says stuff like, well, we'll do it in a bit. I don't want the smell of any barbecue stuff getting in the house. In hindsight, ingenious. So they got here. I'm taking away from the guests. I'm terrible. Go on, Lyndon. Tell us more.
So you'd obviously arrived. Ben had turned up at 6:30, but when we were planning the surprise, I said it would be good to get people to arrive, or your friends to arrive later, because again, traditionally, surprises, everyone turns up at the same time. People aren't going to expect, or yourself are not going to expect, other people to be in the house, hiding in a bedroom. But I took it a step further, because the original plan was to have 2 of your friends in the bedroom waiting for you to come upstairs when I showed you around the room. And that was the original plan. But that wasn't good enough. I thought, well, no, what we'll do, we'll take him upstairs and he'll go in the bedroom, and there'll be someone sat down in one of the chairs. And that's when Ben came up with the idea. I said, well, let's have a newspaper, someone reading a newspaper, so that when you walk in, you can't see who it is. It's
obscured,
that's surprise. And that's when Ben came up with the idea. Middle-aged man gets pranked again, and there was your mugshot on the front of the newspaper. And of course, when you walked up,
well, I'll just pause you on that thought.
Yep.
So to set the scene for you, Salty Tadpoles, from the poor, confused middle-aged man perspective who was celebrating his birthday party, Lyndon, God bless him, was saying, right, to me and my dad, let's go and have a look at everything. And I genuinely was like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's done. Because prior to this, you built it up well. You kept saying, I'm really looking forward to showing you how I've changed the bedroom and changed the furniture and things. And I'm going up the stairs, and I'm the first one going up. And this is where the little ding moment, just slightly, a wee bit, a soupçon happened. Now, it's nothing like the complete and utter confusion that Home Not Alone 1 caused with me. Episode 188, people, tune in, re-acclimatise yourself with it, re-familiarise yourself. So I'm going up the stairs, and Lyndon says to me, I want you to go in. I want you to sort of like see what you think. I want your reaction. And you had your phone. And that's the only point where I thought, something's going to happen. So this is honestly what happened. So I go into the room, and I kid you not, and I think I'd already said this to you, I was so amazed by the transformation, because you have to understand, Lyndon and Jen have been doing the getting the house ready for a while. And when I first saw that room, it was sort of like almost a bit of a shell, wasn't it? You're taking cupboards out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was also obviously still recovering from the confusion of Home Not Alone Part 1. So we get in the room, and this is onto what happened. I was just like, holy cow, 'cause I'm looking at the antique furniture you've got, and that really got my attention. I was thinking, this is brilliant. I'm looking around the room, and I'm seeing the nice bed and stuff. And then I turn, and what do I see? I see somebody sat in a chair reading a newspaper. And I'll let you go ahead and with the whole thing, but this is onto for the first second I can admit this to you on the Salted Tadpoles. Auntie thought, is that a real person? And I thought, have they done me with a doll or something again? But I looked to the hands and I thought, no, they're human beings' hands, so it is a human.
Yeah.
So at that point, you've got me again. There's someone in a chair, but go on, Lyndon. I'm going to hand it over to you.
So basically, I'm just taking it. I'm going to rewind back. I'm going to do one of your points now. So to rewind it back, and before you went up the stairs, I'd agreed with Steve and Simon to come to the house at 7:00.
Yeah.
I said, don't ring me. Don't knock on the door. I will be at the door for 7:00, and you're going to go upstairs. Steve, you're going to go in the bedroom, and I'll move on to the next part of that in a minute. So when I got to the door, they were both there. Brilliant. Plans working. I said just before I came into the house, right, I'm just going to nip in and sort the food out. At that point, I watched.
Which is all legit. It's all legit. It's all believed. That's the beauty of what you were doing. You probably also, did you give me alcohol at that point? Or was that later? But anyway.
Oh, I think you'd had an intake of alcohol.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, but again, wasn't trying to get you wasted before this happened. But anyway, so I got them upstairs, and obviously Steve sat in a chair. Now we set the stage. I'd already closed the curtains, switched the lamps on. I had it all planned, and I just said to Steve, sit there, put the newspaper in front of you, and then we adjusted it so you couldn't see his face. And then I closed the door. I said to Simon, Simon goes, where am I going? I said, Simon, it's your lucky day. You're going in the bathroom. He said, what? In the bathroom? I said, yeah, I'm not joking. I'm going in the bathroom. Get in the bathroom now. He said, what am I doing? I said, well, we're going to come upstairs with James and his father and Ben Zara. I said, well, you're going to stay in the bathroom because you're going to hear us go in the bedroom, and then you're probably going to hear a bit of a commotion because Steve's going to get up and greet James. And I said, and then you're going to come out the bathroom when this is going on from behind, not in a bad way, and give him the biggest surprise of his life. Bearing in mind, he's a big chap, he's Simon. And it worked wonders. So you went in, you looked round. It was quite dark in there, and the lighting wasn't very bright. It's the old Edison bulbs. Are they Edison bulbs? You know,
I know what you mean. Yeah, the older.
It's the old. It's like a copper glow, so it wasn't that bright, but bright enough to look round. And then obviously you walked in and saw Steve. Steve got up and he greeted you. But at that point, I was filming it, and your dad's wondering what's going on because he doesn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
I've not told, so it's a surprise to your dad. And then obviously Simon then comes out from behind and surprises you again, double whammy.
Yeah, but the greatest thing, the thing that we will hold this whole day on was a comment I made. So honestly, I was looking at the chair because what you'd also tell me about. So remember, to set the scene again, Salty Tadpoles, the chair is the chair that Lyndon had bought when he came to visit me. And also, he was telling me there's the potential of this chair being haunted. So it's all wrapped around this chair, isn't it? The chair being the main thing that you focused on. And I honestly did say this. I went, why is there a man sat in the chair? That was my question.
And that's what chairs are for.
It's true. That is what chairs are for. But it was that moment where, and to explain, you might think people may think I'm slightly crazy with this idea of, well, why was I wondering if it was a real person in the chair? Again, get back onto 188, refamiliarize yourself with it. But I would just say there was an element where Ben and Lyndon have created things that are very realistic. And for that second, I did think, am I looking at a dummy sat in a chair? But yeah, it was the brilliant thing you did of people I'd not seen for years and years that I worked with. So I got to give him a big hug. And so once I've got over the shock of seeing Steve, who I've not seen for 5 years, maybe longer, I turn around and I see Simon. It's just like mind blown. At that point, it literally was just like my mind. I was like, wow. Because it was just, wow, mind blown. So I go downstairs and the party continues. But the thing that interests me is that it's the amount of planning you've said to put into this is the thing that amazes me, getting it all together. And that's the thing. And it is the point that I'd said this in one of the previous episodes as well. And I will not get overly mushy, I promise, and emotional. But it's the fact that throughout the thing you did, all of you, and you particularly for planning it, it means so much to me. It's untrue. It shows me that my real friends you've stuck with me through all the mad chaos of my illness and all the other mad shit in my life that goes on. So I cannot thank you enough for doing that. But how did you get the plan together of, you said obviously you'd worked on this idea of having people not doing like the old trick of jumping from behind a couch to surprise people. What made you, where did the starting point of, how everyone coming in different sections, different timestamps come from?
I think we knew that we wanted to surprise you. I'd said to your father about we're going to try and pull off some kind of surprise, but at that point we didn't know how we were going to do it. Now, the original plan was that people were going to come from the bottom of the garden. So there's a trail at the back of the house, and they were going to all come up the trail at a set time and then come up the garden. And that's what it was only sort of maybe a week before that changed. Because, going back to the Home Not Alone one and what we did there, I thought, I want to do something along those lines, make it a bit more entertaining at Stafford's expense and Frankie McKay.
That worked brilliantly because, mean, you probably remember the evenings after that, I was just like, wow, what else is going to happen?
Yeah. So I think, with the pranks that I do, I always give hints.
Yeah.
So I said about the curry was just to throw you off, because I was saying, I'm going to do a curry in a slow cooker, or I need to get this ingredient. I've got all these ingredients, but I've got to go out and buy some more ingredients, because just one ingredient I need for this curry. And I just talk about it.
But Lyndon, also, when you came to see me, you kept talking to me about slow cookers.
Yeah.
Which adds to the realism, doesn't it?
You could argue that this plan was slow cooked, and it tasted very nice at the end of it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
but I bow down. Can I just say that people say I'm fantastic? I might have to hand the cap over to you. Well done, sir.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So, yes, the slow cooker, that was just to, again, throw you off the trail. It was always intended to be a barbecue, and I told your dad from the outset that's what we were looking to do. But when I spoke to you, I said, we've got a new barbecue. At that point, I think I said, it's not been built yet, but I need to sort out. It had been built and it had been tested. In fact, we had some T-bone steaks on it, which were very nice. So going back to the planning, so the week before it's due to happen, and going back to the Home Not Alone theme, I said, we'll do something along those lines. And I spoke to Ben about it. I said, why not get him to go into the bedroom, and there'd be a surprise in the bedroom. Now, there was talks around someone lying in the bed under the covers.
That was going to be Steve, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was going to be Steve. I mentioned that to Jen. She said, I'm not having him sleeping in my bed. I said, okay, he's a clean man. He is a clean man. But I get it. We've just bought the bed and put covers on. We don't want a man sleeping in the bed, even though he's a very good friend. So we didn't go with that. Then I thought about someone hiding in the wardrobe, which could have been done, but Yeah. But so I think Steve sat in the chair reading a newspaper. If you remember back to what he said when you walked in, anyone here for a sign up? So
He did.
Yeah.
His comment was, is there anyone? Yeah, anyone who can do a sign up? As he pulled the newspaper down. God, that was it. To explain, we used to all work in housing together. God, that was a real flashback moment.
Yeah.
Or.
But and again, I didn't say to Steve, "Oh, this is what you should say," or "Welcome home, boy," or anything like that. I just thought, well, I'll let Steve have free reign over how he interacts with you. So I think I thought that was a better plan, doing it as we did it. And then, it was, as I said before, it was going to be 2 people in the room. And I said, no, that's just not, it's good, but it's not good enough. Let's have someone in the bathroom. And that's where Simon came into the equation. So the plan worked really well. And I was saying all throughout this, when I have to come back on, do a podcast and talk about sequels to movies which actually outdo the originals, and that we can leave that for another time. I'm not saying that this may have outdone the Home Not Alone 1 because it's a completely different setting. Home Not Alone 1, we moved, we didn't tell you, completely. That's a completely different ballgame there.
The distinct difference, you are right, it's a completely different ballgame, is the fact that there's less chance of me having like a heart attack with this one than there was with Home Not Alone. Home Not Alone Part 1 is the one of these ones where it could have done, being honest, again, tune into the old one, listeners, but it's the sort of one where it could have gone horribly wrong. It could have gone horribly wrong. But it was ingenious, as was this one. And the interesting thing when you said about Simon is that I had, thinking back to it, I had no inclination he'd come into the room until I turned, because I was so focused on the fact, like, Steve was there, because I went, gave him a hug and chatted to him. Then I turned around and, like, Simon said hello to him, and I went and gave him a hug. And it was just, I will try not, dead air is never a good thing on these sort of things, but I was, and still am, when you think back to how good it was. Wow. I mean, just truly, thank you so much. Wow. And
I'm glad it had the wow factor. And it was a very pleasant evening. We all thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think just seeing your face made the night for me. When you walked in, it was the comment, why is there someone sat in a chair? And then obviously at that moment, Steve got up and he greeted you. And then Simon walked in and, it was really, 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 really good.
But what was even more brilliant in the whole thing is, and you noticed that, I'd not clocked what was on the front of the newspaper. My brain hadn't even sort of like either seen it or maybe seen it and not processed it, because the paper went onto the bed. Steve put it onto the bed, and it was a completely made, created paper. I think Ben had done it, hadn't he? He created this thing where he'd taken a picture of me from probably a year or two ago when I got out walking when it was really snowy. I'd taken a very unimpressed image of myself, and he puts the wonderful title next to it. Middle-aged man fooled again. Yeah. Says it all.
And as I've said, Home Not Alone 3, it will happen. It's not going to be like the Sharknado where we get up to 30 odd different films. I don't know what it is now, but there'll always be some kind of surprise in store. You won't know when, and you won't know how. It will just happen.
I'm more scared that it's going to turn to like the Fast and the Furious franchise, and we're on like, I'm not allowed 12 or something. We're both getting near like 80 or something.
It'll be, Home Not Alone with a commode at the side. It'll be, Well, I think there'll definitely be another sequel. And I will give you hints, but you'll never know. Is he planning something? Is he not planning something? And it'll just happen. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
I was also told to pass the message that for any future events like this, Gemma wants to be invited to. But what I would like to say for anyone who's listening who works in the entertainment industry or has any involvement with that, and I mean this entirely sincerely, if you need someone to plan something, to put something together, to do an event or anything like that, get in contact with Lyndon, seriously, because he has shown the ability to run and put things together with the Home Not Alone, the first one, with the Home Not Alone 2, which was my birthday celebration, but also he's done a brilliant thing, which is where he did a Phantasm Day, where he created and put together props and a whole event that was beyond anything I've ever seen. In fact, Lyndon's entire thing with a lot of these things is just to create a shocked, amazing, awe-struck impression within me. And I would seriously mean this. If you need him, get in contact with this guy. Get in contact with us. We'll give you Lyndon's contact details if you need any event planning doing or putting together. This is the man you want doing this stuff.
And thank you, James. And I would say that the Phantasm Day would probably be a prequel to Home Not Alone 1. Thinking about it now and what we did on that, where you got blindfolded on that, literally. I
did. I mean, again, that was both very impressive, and there was an element of real happiness when Jen led me into a room blindfolded. There was an element where the film was slightly taken away when I saw it was a put together room. But no, in all seriousness, it was amazing. I still remember that. Well, yeah, I'd been blindfolded, leading me into a room to shock me. And clearly I was not being able to see stuff, and I just remember hearing your voice going, Jen, take his hand and leave. Leave me for.
You was very confused when I took the blindfold off, and
that was
mate. I've got, if you do want to upload any pictures or videos, what we did, I think it was 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah. About 5 years ago. And again, the reason I've made the point of if you need kind of things, events running and prop making, stuff like that, the things you created for that. Yeah. Wow. I mean, just the whole gamut of stuff you've done is mind blowing. So I think with this one, Salty Tadpoles, it's going to be a short and sweet one. It's going to be just a little soup song for the future, because there are other things that I'm sure, well, we're going to have Lyndon on definitely to discuss films, to discuss whether the sequel is better to the original. He certainly did it for the happiness factor for me on this one, for doing Home Not Alone 2, the birthday celebration. The question is, what will be Home Not Alone 3? Will that be like the Electric Boogaloo version of things? Who's to say?
I think we'll be going a bit 4D with this.
Wow.
I'll leave it at that.
Where can it go, Salty Tadpole? Where can it go? So as ever, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and discuss this with me, Lyndon. As said, if you want some party plan, you want anything doing, if you want Lyndon's details, really suggest you do it. Get in contact with me and us. We will then speak to Lyndon about it. But there isn't much more we can say. I think we've been talking of Codswallop on this episode. So as ever, I've been James, and you have been...
pranked. Lyndon.
Yes, Lyndon, the prank king. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you very much, Lyndon. And of course, thank you for being a wonderful friend and running this whole thing for me. It has been wonderful as ever.
More than welcome. Thank you.